Good morning, everybody. It's about 4:45 in the morning. I was thinking about my grandma. I was trying to sleep, and it was like one of those fitful, just couldn't quite get to sleep kind of rest. I'm just laying there thinking about doing grandma's recipes. So I thought we'd go back to really the basics, where it's all about was her cookbook. Yeah, this cookbook came from the Oklahoma City, Putnam City United Methodist Church. In fact, the phone numbers on here are just 5 digits. Like the lumber yard is 2-6121. And inside of this cookbook is all of my grandmother's handwritten recipes. Only fitting I put the chimes on the clock tonight, so there we go. Kind of, just remind us that there is such a thing as time. Here's a close-up of the old book. The recipe actually that we're gonna be working from is right up front. I'm gonna put that up to the side so nothing happens to it. This is my grandma, my grandpa here. It's two incredibly wonderful people. This recipe I actually know by memory. It's pretty simple. It's a real basic recipe. Like I said, I couldn't sleep. So I started thinking of her. So anyway, what I'm gonna do on this one, you need to beat some egg whites for a nice light and fluffy. This recipe actually calls for Crisco. Let me separate those egg whites out real quick. Get those going off to the side. It's easier if you use a bowl that's been in the freezer just for a little bit. Helps if it's nice and cold. Get that going. Got a bowl right back here for my wet ingredients. Nice sitting here cooking with grandma. Where it all started. She's one of those people that was your one person that you always knew had your back. Nobody else could. That woman did. My grandfather died pretty early. Same kind of man. Miss him greatly as well. Yeah, I just couldn't sleep. Coming up soon is a really sad time for me coming up. Somebody I love very dearly passed away just after 4 in the morning a week ago. Well, it'd be 21 years ago in 1 week. How's that? I just couldn't sleep. So grandma's recipe is just not one I even have to look at anymore. Basically, I'm working with 2 cups of flour, 1/4 cup or so of sugar, put in some vanilla, baking powder, salt, and shortening. Nice, sweet, comforting recipe. One thing is I can't eat, it's too late. So since it's the middle of the night, I can't have anything to eat or drink, or I won't be able to go back to sleep. I have to stay up all night. That's fine. This is just waking up nostalgia state for me. What I would be doing though, if I could eat, but not go through the whole process of making waffles actually. What I'd be doing instead is making milk toast. What is milk toast, right? Milk toast is Simply that, warmed milk, a little bit of nutmeg, warm milk, a little bit of nutmeg, cinnamon, in a bowl, and you put literally a piece of toast in it. Right now what I'm doing is just whipping up these egg whites by hand. I don't have a blender anymore, but don't need one. Just back to the basics. Do what I like. I mean, that's why I say, I hate eating, but I love waffles. That's where it all came from. I love the waffles right here. It's funny, I'm still gaining strength in my arms. It's like, still hard for me to make a good pack on coffee. The arm circle movement of whisking these egg whites up. Kind of a booger. Not used to having to work this hard to do that. I threw a few curveballs, but I'm still alive. Just sit in a nice rocking chair, still at night. Get to make them. Well, the nice part is I'll actually be able to eat them tomorrow. Now there's a different waffle recipe I'm actually making for tomorrow's waffles, but I guess we'll call this the bonus edition. Getting the original recipe. Alright, get in a position where I can really get those whipped up. The thing about the egg whites in this is they make it fluffy since we're using Crisco as the oil. You need something to fluffen that batter up. You see these are fluffing up pretty nicely there. Once again, you're doing this is warm milk this time. So you put in the warm milk, the melted Crisco, and I got my dry ingredients. And the egg whites I'll fold in right at the very bottom. Pour that mixture into here. Grandma probably looking at me like, whoa, hey, you're supposed to be putting in a third ingredients here. The dry, she's really a stickler on the wet, dry, wet, dry. It's always funny, I just eyeball it. I always get it just perfect no matter what. I think there's something special about something like a grandma's waffle. When I was young, I had this allergy to regular flour. So my grandma, she was the first one to modify the recipe. And the way she modified it was by doing oat flour. And it was her first time to ever cook with oat flour. But she wanted them to taste exactly like waffles I was used to. And so, in doing that, she tried weeks just to get the recipe just right for me. Pretty special. She did it. She perfected that recipe. Tastes exactly like this waffle right here. It's an amazing woman. Her banana nut bread too. Oof. Salt. A little bit of oil. She made the best banana nut bread. When she got older in life, the kids at the grocery store, because the grocery store is pretty close to our house, the kids at the grocery store, they would save all the ripened bananas for her in hopes that she would make them banana bread. Look at that smile on that young kid's face. There's not a lot of those smiles in my world when I was younger, but isn't that a beautiful smile? It doesn't matter if there's 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 1,000. It's the ones that you do get that count, right? Just egg whites right there. said, I was just laying in bed, just couldn't sleep. I was thinking about my grandma, thinking about the Southwestern omelets. The Southwestern waffles I'm gonna make later. And it was getting close to 4 a.m. That's when my love of my life passed away. Beautiful moment. Fold these in. When you do the egg whites, you just want to do a nice, gentle fold of the egg whites, because what you're really doing is you're aerating that batter. That's what we're doing here. Beautiful. Late night waffles. If you were here, I would be feeding you. That's for sure. Smells so good. That rotate. I bet everybody has a special recipe from a loved one if they don't have a grandparent, or if we have friends of our choosing. I'm sure somebody's passed on a special recipe to you from somewhere. Think about recipes. They're just beautiful things. And you hear the spitting? Now these rise. Once you put those folded egg whites in with this particular recipe, they just really just rise up and just create a nice fluffy melt in your mouth waffle. And now these, what I'm gonna do is freeze them, and I'll serve them up to guests. And just hear that pressure coming out from those waffles. Smell, and just really smell that all the ingredients coming together. Just kind of reminds me sometimes. If you're old enough to go to the state fairs and the funnel cakes, we're gonna walk past the funnel cakes. It's one of those things I think about. You can smell that whiff of the funnel cakes coming down as you're walking up to them. It always also made me think of Grandma's waffles as well. Like I say, this is a cooking show for if you hate eating, but you love waffles. This show's gonna be all about for you. Because I don't like eating anymore. I do love waffles, and my grandma's the reason why. So this feels like a great way for me just to connect with food in a way that's really special for me. Just get lost looking at pictures. Actually, typically on the wall, it's the first thing I see when I come out of my bedroom. Every day. I take a look at that picture and that beautiful smile, that young little boy. So innocent, but yet not. It's amazing how as kids, how lovely our emotions are. We can have very strong emotions. Just as strong as adults can have. You don't think of a kid having such a strong emotion, like raw, like anger, rage, love, passion. I mean, yes, those are just as strong and emotional as we have them today. You look back, it's like, oh, that was puppy love. Well, was it? In that time, were you really, wasn't it just a very emotional time for you? I mean, I know for me it was. But then again, just like how we're cooking with food that's tailor-made for me, but you could also just tell about somebody else. This is the same thing. Get a plate. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a paper towel on the plate. That way they don't just get sopping wet with that moisture and steam that's about to come out. Look how golden, crisp. These are very crisp, very fluffy. Oh, I wish I could have a bite right now. I really do. That would be delicious. Get a little bit of butter. Love there being still enough oils from the cooking from earlier today, but looks like we're gonna need some more. So get the vibe in the morning now. Perfect timing for the clock to go off. I'm going to remind you a few times, when it comes to making waffles, whatever you do not forget to at least rinse out that bowl. Welcome to fucking glue if you do not. There's something about that particular mix. Maybe that's why they stick so well to your stomach. It's beautiful glue. Look at a nice waffle. Definitely full. So nice to share this with you guys. Once again, we'll be putting this into a plastic bag, freezing them immediately. Waffle bag in the freezer, actually. I just really wish that you could capture the smells, the steams coming off. Just the whole, the vanilla flavor is coming out really powerfully. Which is pretty strong. Yeah, it's a beautiful smell. I appreciate you guys staying up with me, or, well, I'm staying up here catching this whenever you want to. But, appreciate you watching this little reminiscent video. I guess we'll call this a bonus. Seeing Grandma's original recipe going. A little touch of homo, sweet homo. One of the beautiful things with my grandma, she actually told me that she knew I was gay when I was 4 years old. I thought that was pretty cute. She was my biggest ally, my biggest advocate. Well, in all things, really. Beautiful, special lady. So was my grandfather. Yeah, can you hear that? The steam is coming up. So beautiful. Now, hopefully I'll be able to go to sleep after this. For God's sakes, it's 5 in the morning. I really am tired, but you know, those nights when you just can't stop thinking, especially about loved ones, you know. But isn't that beautiful to have the chance to reflect about my loved ones and to be able to share it? Here comes that last waffle. Waffle iron. Get another paper towel to go on top. So I like to seal that beautiful moisture in, so that way when we reheat them later in the oven, they'll come out just like when I just brushed them in. The bag fill up with steam. My lovely neighbor is not feeling very well. moment to be able to share with you. I'll have everything rinsed out. I'll do those dishes in the morning. Good night.